I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for the 11th race of the I69 Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. Getting ready to cap off what's already been a very exciting race weekend. Some really good action from qualifying all the way up to yesterday's first Late Series race here from Port Huron, Michigan's I69 Speedway. 150 laps will be the designated distance for Cup drivers here today, and a lot of storylines coming into this one. I know that with the 10 races under our belt, we haven't even reached the All-Star race break yet. That's on the horizon, but a lot of drivers right now trying to make cases for themselves to be in the playoffs. A lot of other drivers struggling to stay in that championship picture. Some pretty big names hovering down around that cut line, below the cut line. One of those drivers actually starting on the pole position here today. 2 races in at Manassas, he went to victory lane. Nathan Norman out of Michael Norman Motorsports, but now he finds himself out of a playoff position because he is below the 30th in the standings cut line at 32nd in points. He has a total of 17 points below said cut line. He needs to get the points to get back up above that 30th in the standings cut line to even contend for a wild card position. I know there's still a lot of season left to go, but you'd rather have that security blanket now rather than be finding yourself in a must-win situation further on down near the end of the regular season. He's got good starting track position here, and he's looking to continue a trend as well, as we ended up in the first 8 races of the season having 8 different drivers go to victory lane, but in the last 2 races we have been on a streak of multi-time winners. Dustin Bowling got his second win of the season at Texas, and then last time out, Matt Haas goes 2 for 2 at the super speedways as he took his second checker flag of the season at Dragonette. So Nathan Norman could very well look to continue that trend of 2-time winners if he can go coast to coast here today. He's going to have Cole Deaver to his outside. Deaver coming into this race with a very consistent start to the year. 3 top 10s in the first 10 races. Still searching for his first top 5, but his finishes outside the top 10 have been just as good. He's got an average finishing position of around 18th, and that puts him 10th in the overall standings. Currently not in a playoff, or actually, no, he is in a playoff position. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the Light Series where it's only the top 7. It is the top 10 in points that get into the playoffs regardless of a win or not. So right now, Deaver, as things would currently stand, would be in the final point-paying playoff position, and obviously he'd like to extend a bit of a gap between himself and that cut line here today. If he wins, obviously that would help him out a lot as well. Been quite a while since we've seen Deaver in victory lane. I believe it was the last time season 4 of the Duracell Cup Series when he had a multi-win season. And of course, S3 Motorsports coming into this season with back-to-back-to-back championship trophies. Point stands are quite close, up near the top of the standings. 3 drivers really mathematically with a shot of leaving here going into the throwback week at Darlington as the new points leader. Jack Mitchell obviously currently leading the points, 12 points in hand over James Qualls. Both of them have found victory lane. Levi McIntyre currently 3rd in the standings, 18 points out, and he's starting pretty close up to the front of the field outside of row 2 actually there in that Nutella Ford Mustang. Then you've got Ryan Brommer, Benjamin Miles, Carson Gum, Alexander Rowe. They're between 21 to 33 points back from 4th through 7th. They mathematically have a shot, but they are kind of the long shot drivers that could potentially end up being the new points leader. We'll have to see how it all shakes out, as we ended up having some interesting pit strategy at the close of the lights race yesterday. And we'll see if pit road comes into play in this afternoon's race as well. But let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports, and then we'll be talking a little bit more about some of the other race winners playoff scenarios.
Drivers, start your engines!
Just like when we talked about the transporter. At the end of pit road, the last pit box is a timing line. So the last white line on pit exit is the line. Big thumbs up, my friend. Have a good time.
Looks like all 42 cars are going to roll off the grid. We had a driver with an issue in the lights race yesterday, couldn't get off the grid, so very nice to see that. 42 drivers showed up here to I69 Speedway, all of them locked into the show. Obviously, we did not have to have go or go home qualifying in yesterday's qualifying session. So we've already talked about Nathan Ormond's situation. A couple other drivers we'll be keeping an eye on during the course of this race. Nathan Ormond, Destin Boland as well. 2 wins. He's in the 30th position in points, so right now he is in a wild card spot, but he's right on the cut line. And Daniel Voiles, who we saw make his lights debut yesterday, he's a former winner of the season, but 25th in points, only 10 points to the good above the 30th standings cut line. So those 3 drivers, a lot of pressure on them here this afternoon, as we are green flag racing at I69 Speedway, and we're already looking 3 wide for third. Orman, Deaver, Lamas. That's going to be the top 3, going through 3 and 4, coming around to complete the first lap. The Disney Plus Mustang will get the bonus point for the first lap led. Battle back here for the 5th position. A couple more Mustangs. Benjamin Snyder on the bottom, Levi McIntyre on the top. Joshua Osborne has moved up into the 4th position, and look at 3 wide further back. That's Austin LaPlante, RJ Bishop, Autumn Brooks, Carson Gums in this mix. It's Connor Breeden up there, right behind his teammate in the 88. Summer Henson on the bottom in the AC Delco Camry. Jesse Turner in the middle line, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds Mustang. Got a nice exit there out of turn number 2. This driver's trying to settle out here. All bunched up on the initial start. If the lights race is anything to go by, we will see them get spread out single file and have intermittent battles the longer this green flag run goes on. And we will see comers and goers as well. We saw in the lights race a lot of drivers that qualified up at the front would kind of fade to the back. Drivers that qualified mid-pack were able to work their way up to the front. We're looking at Anthony McCrory. He took part actually in yesterday's Light Series race, ran top 3 for most of the event, but on that final pit stop, that only pit stop of the night, 55 team out of Garage 55 were not on the ball, and he ended up finishing way down near the bottom of the finishing results. Was not indicative of just how strong a car he had. A few drivers actually in the field here that took part in that lights race. There's Daniel Voiles. He made his Duracell Ultralight Series debut yesterday, the now full-time 2nd entry out of World NOS Racing in that series. Jack Mitchell also ran the Adrenaline Motorsports All-Star car there yesterday. And Dylan Young was in the All-Star car for Bishop Family Racing in the 16. Battle for 7th, I believe. A couple of Toyota Camrys duking it out there. Reggie Fogelman in the Taco Bell machine out of Haas Racing. Laura Chung, the Yahoo machine out of Auto Junction Racing, and Fogelman's got the spot. Reggie coming to this race 19th in the standings. Looking for his first victory since season 5. As here's the battle for 5th. Correction, actually for 4th. Levi McIntyre looking to the inside of Joshua Osborne. Not going to be able to take the spot just yet. We ended up seeing some trends of multi-groove racing in the lights race yesterday as well. Granted, it might be slightly different with what we see here this afternoon as opposed to yesterday, because there is a difference in physics, and obviously there is a difference in the amount of speed that these drivers are carrying around as well. I mean, the pole qualifying lap that Nathan Ormond put down was head and shoulders above the pole qualifying lap that was put down for the Light Series. They're much, much faster here in the Cup Series, and that can translate sometimes into one lane being much easier to maneuver in terms of making passes than the other. So while we saw a lot of passing on both the bottom and the top yesterday, may not necessarily follow that we will see the same thing here in this race. Tire fall off, I think, is still going to be a continuing trend. We had, what was it, 6 to 7 tenths of a second of fall off long into a run in the Lights race, and if they are carrying more speed here in the Cup Series, the tire wear is going to be exacerbated a little bit more, and I think you're going to see a lot more tire management, and who is able to preserve those good years for the long run, those are going to be the drivers that are going to start moving forward. Right now, Nathan Norman enjoying about maybe 4 car lengths back to Cole Deaver in second. Runs a little bit higher there through that corner, trying to get some clean air to the nose. Cody Lamas closing up on him now. 2.5 car lengths, 1.5 car lengths maybe, off the back bumper of the Good Wrench Plus Chevrolet for second place. Osborne holding down the 4th position. Osborne coming into this one 9th in the point standings. So currently in a playoff position as far as points paying position is concerned. Was a former winner last season, but was not high enough in the point standings for his win at the end of the regular season to count towards a playoff spot. Looking to remedy that here. Looking to also be the second Joanna Atwood Motorsports car to go to victory lane this season. His team owner James Qualls. And don't forget that yesterday, both the Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars in the Light Series finished in the top 5. Jordan Anderson brought home the victory. Cody Majorek finished inside the top 5. I believe was in 4th position. So a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of a cheat sheet, I guess, for Joanna Atwood Motorsports here for this Cup Series race, and knowing what to expect in terms of the trends, depending on how long these green flag runs go on. We're going to stay here with this battle, which is going to be a 4-way battle for second place. Deaver, Lamas, Osborne, and McIntyre now all closed up together, bumper to bumper. This is only about 3.5, 4 car lengths off the back of Nathan Norman, so they might be able to draft up to him if they don't battle too much. And we could have a 5-car fight for the second spot, because I'm seeing the Live Reality Games 38 of Benjamin Snyder beginning to close in there as well. There you saw him top of your screen. Deaver pulling away now, though. Cody had to lift through the center of the corner. Now Joshua Osborne, Levi McIntyre looking to close the gap up. A little further back here. This is just inside the latter portion of the top 10. Autumn Brooks started at the back of the pack in the Lights race yesterday and wasn't really able to work her way up that much forward. Right now, though, had a good qualifying effort yesterday and is holding down the 9th position, trying to hold off RJ Bishop. Now, obviously, if we kind of look at some trends, if we look at the trend of this weekend for the Lights series, Jordan Anderson, after Texas, the last race that the Lights drivers were at, ended up dropping multiple spots in the standings out of the top 10 in points and eventually ended up winning. Well, if we're looking at a driver that had a similar scenario last week at Dragonette for the Cup Series, it would be RJ Bishop. RJ was 10th in the point standings going into that race, dropped 5 spots at the conclusion to 15th. So if we're looking at somebody to kind of do what Jordan Anderson did in the Light Series race yesterday, it might be this 98 car. And it's been a while since RJ Bishop has been to victory lane. Right behind him, Carson Gum. Carson a few weeks ago was in the conversation for the overall points lead after he found victory lane at Las Vegas, but his finishes have tapered off just the least little bit. Lost 3 spots in the standings at the conclusion of Dragonette last week, and now trying to bounce back here is currently the former champion is in line for a playoff position via top 10 in points, but he would love that regular season championship as well. Pays out that extra 15 bonus points when the playoff grid is put together. Almost usually guarantees the #1 seed in the playoff grid for the first round, the round of 16. And he's trying to make his way up into the top 10. A good tussle here with Jesse Turner. Keith Batson now in the conversation right there behind him in the 39. Summer Henson there in the 78 car as well. This is the 11th position that all these drivers are battling for right now, as we're going to go 3 wide into turn 1 with Henson on the bottom, turn in the middle, Carson Gum on the top. Let's see which line gets the better run off the corner. Middle line looked like it got a much better run. Jesse Turner going to bypass both of those race cars, and he'll move up to the 11th spot. Meanwhile, we've had an exchange for second place as we were watching that battling going on. Cody Lamas has gotten around Cole Deaver, and now he's setting his sights on Nathan Ormond for the race lead. Deaver's back to third. Osborne in the 4th position, about 0.4 of a second behind him, but Cody's lap times really have picked up the last 10 laps or so, and Nathan Ormond might be under fire for the first time here tonight for that race lead after so far being out in front for the first 24, about to be 25 circuits. Man, look at the momentum Cody got right there off of turn 4. He's going to have a shot at him. Catching him is one thing, passing him is another. We are more than 25 laps into this run, and looked like Cody really got tight through the center of 1 and 2 there. Look at the gap open up just a bit there between him and Nathan Ormond. But then again, he gets that great run out of turn 4. So it looks like Ormond's better on the first half of the track, and then Cody's better in the second half. He's going to jump to the top, is Cody Lamas. See what he can do, try and get that run off of turn 2. Maybe set up for 3 and 4, which have been his better corners. Not close enough to make a move right now, but Cody is searching, trying to find something to put his Florida Panther Chevrolet out in clean air. Been a long winless streak for Cody Lamas. Of course, a few seasons ago, he branched off to his own team at Llama Racing, and it has been growing pains for that organization. Really struggled in their first season, season 6. Last season, they did a little bit better. This season's been their best season by far statistically, as he comes into this one 22nd in points with 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, an average finishing position of around 21st. And he could majorly improve on that if he's able to win here this afternoon, maybe even just if not get that victory, bring it home with another top 5. That's the first time Cody's looked like he struggled through 3 and 4. Lost a lot of ground to Nathan Ormond right there. Let's ride on board with the Florida Panther Chevrolet Camaro as he pursues Nathan Ormond for the top spot, and listen to how you got to make your way around this mile racetrack known as I69 Speedway. Trouble up ahead. Big wreck in front of the leaders. Caution is going to wave for the first time here this afternoon. And you saw it right there. Ormond and Lamas closing up on that wreck. They were able to avoid it. But a bunch of drivers collected up in that one. There's Benjamin Miles just ahead of the race leaders. I think he's going to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. Dylan Poteet, I saw him spun around. And there were a number of others collected up as well. One driver I believe I might have saw was Benjamin Snyder, and we know he was running up towards the front of the field. I think he was around 6th or 7th place. There's Poteet on pit road. Dylan Young, he's out of the race. They've just now taken him to the garage area in the 2 car. And there is Benjamin Snyder and the 38. It's everybody on pit road here under this caution. We'll follow these pit stops, see who ends up winning the battle off pit road. Ormond with that number 1 pit stall and not that far to go to the commitment line. Looks like everybody's going with 4 tires. That's not surprising. Looked like lap times were already nearly 0.4 of a second slower than fastest lap. And Ormond is going to win the battle off of pit road. Lamas. Then it looks like Laura Chung Autumn Brooks actually going to be the top 4. And I don't know if Ormond just was a little slow getting out of his stall there, but I believe he's going to be the leader. He'll get up here and take that top spot from Cody Lamas. But let's go back and take a look at what brought out this caution. Again, Benjamin Snyder, I would assume, would be the driver we'd have to focus on. He was the furthest up of the drivers that were involved. And he's battling with Levi McIntyre. Here's a look at what happens. Something happened. Maybe an electrical issue. All of a sudden, he just loses power. And that car is coasting on the back straightaway. And then someone's going to probably clobber him here going into turn 3 as he's stopped on the racetrack. He's trying to get it down low. And, oh, Poti was side by side with Matt McIntyre, had nowhere to go. There's where Dylan Young's involved. Matt Haas, our winner from last week, is involved. Kyle Matthews, Bryce Egan, and Benjamin Miles all collected up as well. So some type of a mechanical issue. Almost looked like battery or electrical. The reason for Benjamin Snyder having that problem, he was trying to get down to the bottom of the track going into turn 3. And unfortunately for Dylan Poteet, in a double wide situation with Matt McIntyre, he had absolutely nowhere to go. Watch this impact. There's Dylan Young. Matt Haas is a wonder we didn't have more drivers collected up, to be perfectly honest. Not sure about the damage on the 9, the 25, the 09. How it's going to affect them for the remainder of this race. But there you see Nathan Norman and Cody Lamas. We were on board with Cody at the time that wreck occurred right in front of them. And fortunately, they were able to avoid. Interesting pit strategy coming into play here. A few drivers did not come to pit road. Your top 3, Caleb Fogler, Jessica Shelton, Eric Sadler, elected to stay out. Nathan Orman going to restart now in the 4th position. And we're being told that Cody Lamas crossed the start-finish line before giving the spot back to Nathan Orman when they left pit road. And he is going to have to serve a pass-through penalty for not maintaining his correct position. So we'll see him have to make the dive to pit lane here, more than likely on the next lap as green flag is back in the air. You saw both Benjamin Miles and Kyle Matthews trapped a lap down to the leaders. Kyle is 2 laps down, Benjamin Miles 1 lap down. Now he's back in the lead lap as he just got around the race leader, Caleb Fogler. Cody's not coming to pit road, and look at this back here. Wow. Look at the back of the 09. Right around where the fuel cell is, the whole right rear quarter or left rear quarter panel has been taken off, exposing that wheel. You don't see that kind of damage very often. As look at this tooth and nail battle up here. This is around 7th back to 15th, 16th place. 3 wide, looking 4 wide. Didn't know this track could hold him 4 wide. Eric Monaco squeezed up into the wall by Laura Chung. Hopefully he'll be able to keep that thing pointed in the right direction, but he's dropping all the way to the back because of that. Now Chung way up the track in the 77. Up at the front, there's Cody Lamas. He's now completed that pass-through. I believe he's going to stay on the lead lap. Well, maybe not. Nope. Leader just went by him. Jessica Shelton took the lead away from Caleb Fogler. And now Cody's going to be a lap down. He's going to merge back up here around the 3rd place Nathan Orman, so he might be able to race up there and get his lap back the hard way, but that's a tough break there for Cody. Was looking really good in this one. And now he finds himself off the lead lap with still 110 laps to go. But I'm very curious about this strategy here with Shelton, Fogler, and Sadler all electing not to come to pit road. They're obviously at a huge deficit in terms of tires. And we'll see what Nathan Orman on those fresh tires is going to be able to do here as he's trying to get a run to the outside of Caleb Fogler. Fogler shuts the door on him. Cody Lamas looking at the inside of Orman. This is not for position. Cody's trying to get back up to the front to get on the tail end of the lead lap. And it looks like Benjamin Miles, after he got the lap back on that restart, he also dove onto pit road, and he is now 2 laps down. We have 4 drivers out of the race after the incident, but 3 of them were involved in the wreck. The 4th driver, I'm not certain what happened to him. So the 3 drivers out of the race due to the wreck, as Cody wants that lap back. He's hounding Jessica Shelton. But Benjamin Snyder, Dylan Poteet, Dylan Young going to finish 40th through 42nd. We saw Cole Deeper, who started on the outside of the front row. He was having a great run up inside of the top 10. He is also out of this race, and I would have to assume that it's more than likely something to do with pit road. So we will show you via the NCAA split cam what occurred with Cole Deaver. And that's a tough one for him because, as we mentioned, he comes into this one 10th in the point standings. He was in that final playoff spot as far as a points-paying playoff position. And obviously now, he will more than likely drop out of the top 10 with this DNF. Cody Lamas back on the lead lap with that pass on Jessica Shelton. Opens up the door for Nathan Norman to try and go back to the lead. Now Cody is hoping that a yellow flag comes out because that would then get him to the tail end of the field, still on the lead lap, and would not have to rely on pit strategy to end up getting him that lap back. Meanwhile, James Qualls now making a move to the outside Jessica Shelton for 2nd place. Qualls, former winner on the season at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, one of the crown jewel races this season. And we're going to another crown jewel race next week, as both the Lights and the Cup Series drivers will be at the track Too Tough to Tame. It's throwback week at the Darlington Raceway. And Shelton, on those old tires, slipping back and holding up some of these faster machines. Carson Gum will now move on by into the 2nd position. RJ Bishop now looking for 3rd. Connor Breeton's up here. Autumn Brooks is up here. Caleb Fogler has slipped back to the 8th position. Eric Sadler's all the way back to 17th. So the gamble on old tires to gain track position has kind of worked for one of the drivers in Shelton, not worked out so well for Fogler or Sadler. They also, like Cody Lamas, would love to see a caution right now. It would more than likely draw everybody back down pit road once again. Let's follow this battle back here for the, I believe now, 5th position. Shelton, Breeton, and Brooks. Shelton on those older tires, running about 0.7 of a second slower than her fastest lap. Connor Breeton trying to get by and will complete the pass. So we're definitely seeing the difference between fresh tires to old tires. It's about 25 lap difference on the tires of those that stayed out to the drivers that pit. And now Autumn Brooks will battle with Shelton here for the 6th position. Keith Batson in this conversation. Jesse Turner, Turner's teammate Alexander Rowe right there as well. Michael Norman in the 22, just outside the top 10. Last time by scored in 11th place. Trying to crack his way into the top 10. Michael 23rd in points coming into this race. He's got 3 top 10s. 2 of those top 10s, top 5 finishes, but been very inconsistent though. Average finishing position of higher than 22nd place. As now here comes the Raising Cane Chevrolet of Casey Hoyt to his inside. Casey Hoyt's been on the uptrend as of late. Had a great run at Sonoma. Decent run at Texas. Ran well last week at Dragonette. Almost pulled off that victory. And he is 16th in the point standings now. Granted, he had 3 wins last year in his rookie season. Hasn't quite found that success here over with Northeast Motorsports, but seems like he's starting to find his footing now, as he's just now broken into the top 10. RJ Bishop trying to hold off James Qualls for the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, Carson Gum has closed up on Nathan Ormond. And the both of them are slowly, it looks like, reeling in Cody Lamas. Only a third of the way through this race, and more than likely one more pit stop these drivers are going to have to make as well. We ended up having, in the lights race yesterday, driver is able to make it roughly around 90 laps on fuel of the 100 lapper. And we just had a pit stop back on lap 25 here for these drivers, so I would say that they're probably going to have to come to pit lanes somewhere, I don't know, maybe in the vicinity of 25 to go. Maybe somewhere around lap 20, 125, 130, something like that. Not 100% certain on how the PTA physics work in relation to CTS physics, how similar they are in tire and fuel fall off. But I think they're somewhat close. PTA might be able to stretch it a little bit further, but I don't think these drivers can make it the rest of the way on fuel. We know for certain that Shelton, Fogler, and Sadler can, because they haven't been to pit road at all yet. Orman, right now, this is not a good scenario for him because with Cody Lamas in front, he does not have the benefit of clean air. So this is actually helping Carson Gum to be able to close up the gap and try and figure out where the 23's weaknesses are as opposed to his strengths in battling for this top spot. And you know Cody's going to do everything he can to keep both the 23 and the 19 in his rearview mirror in the hopes of catching a caution at the right time and remaining on the lead lap. I also wonder about other traffic. We know that Kyle Matthews is off the pace. There he is. I believe he's just now making his way through 3 and 4. Nope, correction, that was through 1 and 2. Leaders are just now coming out of 2, so he's about a straightaway ahead of them. And Benjamin Miles, I guess he's up to speed because he's up here still. Yeah, he's up in these positions. Did Shelton pit? Shelton's back now in the 29th position. Fogler's back here and Eric Sadler. Let me check and see if they've made their pit stop here under green. And scoring says no, they have not. Man, look at how much they have fallen off. Shelton's back to 29th. Fogler is back to 30th. Sadler to 32nd. That strategy call did not work for those drivers in the long run. I think they were banking on a quickie yellow maybe 15, 20 laps in to this run, and they did not get it. And they have fallen like stones through the field. Ooh, Carson Gum right there almost thought about sticking it to the inside of Orman, but you saw the checkup, you saw the lift there. Maybe a little pump of the brakes, and that lost him some momentum. Well, RJ Bishop is cleared away from Qualls, firmly in control of third. Battle is on for fourth now between a couple of Chevrolets. 70 of Qualls, the 88 of Connor Breton. Connor Breton, a 3-time winner last season in his rookie campaign. We're going to be pretty soon going to a racetrack that he's very familiar with, that he's formerly gone to victory lane at, one of the Crown Jewel races at Charlotte, right after the All-Star break. And Connor Breton, he's just looking for some kind of momentum to get going, as so far he's only scored one top 10, and he is 39th in the point standings. That is the second lowest of the drivers that have run every single one of the races this season. And to kind of put into perspective, he is only 7 points to the good ahead of rookie Bryce Egan, who has made 4 less starts than he has here in Season 8. So that just shows just how much this 88 team has been struggling out of the gate. Well, the extra track time last night must have really helped Autumn Brooks. Didn't translate to a great finish for her in the lights event where she's running for the championship, but here in the cup race, she's been doing a great job up inside of the top 10 most of the evening, or just outside of the top 10. 6th position right now being held down by the Spider-Man Mazda out of Garage 55, and right now she's the only one of the Garage 55 cars that are really running all that well. The other two are mired mid-pack, Anthony McCurry in 18th, Nick Gunther back in 23rd. Jesse Turner trying to hold off Keith Batson. Jesse Turner, a playoff contender last season. This season, he's yet to score a top 10. He's in line for his first one right now in that 7th spot. 34th in the point standings. Right behind him, Keith Batson, who also was a playoff contender last season. He did manage to score, I believe, was a top 10 last time out at Dragonette. That was his first of the season. Gained him 6 spots in the standings from 34th up to 28th, but still a lot of work to do, as now drivers have caught the slower, wounded machine of Kyle Matthews, who's going to go a third lap down now to the leaders. And for the lead, Carson Gum to the inside of Nathan Ormond. Can he complete the pass here through 3 and 4? Yes, he will. Carson Gum will go to the point, and that is the first, I believe, lead change of the night in terms of green flag. Nope, it's actually the second, sorry. Second lead change of the night in terms of a green flag pass. Shelton on Caleb Fogler at the beginning of this run was also a pass under green. But first driver to pass Nathan Ormond, I guess we could say, for the top spot, as Carson Gum now shows the way with 80 laps remaining. And Cody Lamas is about to pass some cars for position. That's Eric Sadler on those old tires on the tail end of the lead lap. Cody Lamas is also on the tail end of the lead lap, and this is for position up ahead. Same can be said for some other cars just up ahead of these guys. Jessica Shelton, Caleb Fogler. I believe I also see Reggie Fogelman not too far up ahead also. So Cody to the inside of the 12. He does have fresher tires, does Cody Lamas, than most of these cars ahead of him because he did pit under the caution period. Oh, smoke up ahead of these guys. Did somebody spin? Caution's out. And that's huge for Cody Lamas. He'll stay on the lead lap. Someone had a moment there, it looked like off of turn 4, saw some skid marks up to the wall. That saves Caleb Fogler, that saves Jessica Shelton. That's the caution they needed. It comes a couple laps too late for Eric Sadler, who gets trapped a lap down. And this will more than likely draw everybody back to pit road. Carson Gum, Nathan Ormond, RJ Bishop, everybody coming down pit road here of the lead lap cars as we are nearing the halfway point. Let's take a look here as these pit stops take place and see what brought out this yellow. It was just ahead of the race leaders. We saw the lingering smoke. And we'll try and figure out who it was that got out of shape. Looked like maybe, was that Casey Hoyt? Yes, it was. Man, we were talking about the great run that he was having. And let's take a look and see what exactly happens to him. Let's take this back to the exit of turn 2. Running in the 9th position. And he goes way high here in 3 and 4. I'm trying to see if he's under power or not. And he's going to try and get to pit road. And Bryce Egan is there. 24 up and into the wall. And man, we are so lucky other drivers weren't collected. Destin Bolin had a close call there. Let's go on board with the 24 car because it looked like he was under power. I wonder if he had a tire going down and was trying to get to pit lane. Here's inside the cockpit. Let's take a listen to the engine. Yeah, he is clearly under power. The engine was still running. So that says to me that he might have had a tire going down and was trying desperately to get to pit lane before causing any problem for the drivers behind him, and unfortunately he just didn't have that avenue down to pit road. And Casey Hoyt, who was en route to a great run inside of the top 10, he's now back behind the wall after that big hit into the outside safer barrier, and he's going to get credited for 38th position. That number 1 pit stall paid dividends for Nathan Ormond. He was able to win the battle off of pit lane against Carson Gum. So he'll get us back under the green after leading a race high now 58 laps this evening. Carson Gum will line up in second. James Qualls, Connor Breton, Alexander Rowe are going to be your top 5. So a bit of a botched pit stop for RJ Bishop. Nathan Ormond going to restart in 6th with Batson in 7th. And Bishop's going to be back in the 8th position is where they're currently scoring him. Jesse Turner, Daniel Bouchard will be the top 10. We will have 3 lap down machines on the inside line. Kyle Matthews -3, Benjamin Miles -2, and Eric Sadler -1. And we talked about Cody Lamas not giving back a position off of pit road before the start-finish line, having to serve that pass-through penalty. 98 of R.J. Bishop is currently being warned on the same penalty, and he will have to serve a pass-through on this upcoming green flag. We're now halfway home here at I69 Speedway. I believe we're good to make it the rest of the way on fuel, so tires are going to be the biggest concern now from this point to the checkered flag. As they split the Kyle Matthews machine 3 wide, Ormond, Gum, Qualls all going to get away. Breton will get clear as well. Alexander Rowe up around the outside of Benjamin Miles in the 5th position. Michael Norman will follow him into 6th. And caution's out again. Immediately the yellow flag flies once more, and I think, oh boy, trouble on the front straightaway, and our points leader's involved. Jack Mitchell, a lot of damage in the front end of his car. There is Daniel Voiles. And I don't know if Bishop served the pass-through yet or not. I don't think he did. Not sure if he can serve it here under caution or not. If he can, that's a huge break for him, but he does have some damage too, I noticed. And somebody's smoking up here. It's Bryce Egan in the 9. A lot of damage on the Air Jordan Toyota out of Haas Racing. Egan with his 7th start of the season in this rookie campaign. And is there somebody else up there smoking? No, there's not, but Laura Chung is also on pit road in the 77. So it looks like a pretty massive pileup. Probably off of turn 4 and onto the front straightaway. And let's take a look and see what exactly happened. Let's start up with the 26 of Daniel Voiles. Oh, we looked 4 wide. And it was working on a couple of occasions, but not this time. Take a look. Jessica Shelton shows the nose to the inside. Voiles goes down, I think, to try and block this. Oh, no. Bishop was coming down to serve his penalty. And he came right down into Quentin Moore, and it blockaded the entire racetrack. Cody Lamas, Ryan Brommer, Autumn Brooks. There's Jack Mitchell involved there as well. All involved in that. That's what happened. Bishop from around the 8th position was coming to pit lane to serve that pass-through penalty that he had to. And he just pulls right down in front of traffic. There's a big hit for Laura Chung. There's Bryce Egan. Cody Lamas was in that. After he had just gotten back on the lead lap. Autumn Brooks, who was having a great run, she had no hood, so something happened to her on the pit stop, obviously. A lot of damage sustained on that machine. And so that brings out the caution for the 3rd time here tonight. And if these drivers were close on fuel, this caution is going to help them now be able to make it the rest of the way. Although I think before we even went green on that last restart, they were good to make it. And more drivers going to be out of the race because of this. It's looking like R.J. Bishop may have been able to serve that black flag here under this caution period. It's looking like Jessica Shelton is currently under a black flag penalty. I don't know if it's for the same thing that Cody and RJ have had so far tonight or not. So Shelton will probably have to pit on the upcoming restart. But 3 drivers out of the race after this incident, and one of them is a big one. It's Jack Mitchell, the points leader coming into this one, the former winner from Phoenix this season, out of the race. Looks like he's going to end up being scored 34th at the conclusion of the evening. Also out of the race are going to be the cars of Laura Chung and Bryce Egan. Daniel Voiles also involved in that wreck. He is out of the race too, and that's also a big one because Daniel Voiles came into this race 25th in the standings. He was only 10 points above the 30th in the standings cut line. The former winner this season from Sonoma could find himself below the cut line and out of a playoff position when all is said and done, heading into Darlington Raceway next week. So can confirm RJ Bishop's black flag was not cleared with serving a pass-through here under caution. He will still have to serve it under green along with Jessica Shelton. They're both back towards the rear of the field, so hopefully we will not see them cutting down in front of traffic. Nathan Ormond ready to get us back under green. Great jump for him. Bit of a slow start for Carson Gum, who might have to deal with the lap traffic of Miles and Sadler on the inside line before he can get back up to the 23. Further back, Michael Norman with a move on Alexander Rowe to move up into the 5th position. And Rowe drops back a few spots. Norman now looking for 4th on Connor Breton, as Benjamin Miles has been able to slot in between Nathan Ormond and Carson Gum. Carson now under fire from James Qualls for the runner-up spot. There's Shelton and there is Bishop, both of them serving their pass-throughs. Looks like for RJ Bishop it was a stop and go. Either that or they might have been repairing some of that damage he had on both the left and right side as he was caught up in that incident off of turn 4. But he's going to follow a lap down. Jessica Shelton is also going to follow a lap down. And I don't think either one of those drivers really have a car fast enough like Cody Lamas had to be able to get up here to the front and get their laps back the hard way. Benjamin Miles actually with a pit stop there as well in the 25 machine. So with pit stops, pit road no longer a concern. It now comes down to who's got the strongest car and who's got the best tire conservation program. Carson Gum trying to close back up on Nathan Ormond. He's been able to break away from James Qualls, who has a nice cushion back to 4th place Connor Breton. A couple of lap machines in between himself and the 88, that being Miles and Sadler. Eric Sadler, another driver, if we're talking about playoffs, that this evening's not going to work out all that well for him. He came into this one 11th in points, obviously a former winner this season at North Wilkesboro, the only rookie so far to go to victory lane this season, but that put him, as things were currently sitting, in the number 3 wildcard spot. He's obviously going to drop in the point standings. We'll have to see. I think he still will be in a wild card spot, but I'm not necessarily certain if he's still going to be in that 3 seed or not. As he tried to make a move to the inside there of Benjamin Miles, that would not be for position. Sadler is 1 lap down, Miles is 3 laps down. So that's not for position at all. And that now brings Connor Breton, Michael Norman, Jesse Turner, who are in a fight for the 4th position, to the back door of the GameStop Ford Mustang. How about Anthony McCrory? We were talking about the fact that Autumn Brooks was really the only Garage 55 car that was having a good evening in the early going. McCrory's been able to get through all the carnage, and he's now up to 7th. We documented he ran 100 laps here last night in the lights race. Ran in the top 3 most of the evening before a botched final pit stop. And having a good run right now in P7. Also another driver having a great run, Daniel Bouchard, the rookie out of Michael Norman Motorsports, now battling with Alexander Rowe for the 8th position. Daniel's only got 1 top 10 so far in his first 10 starts with the team. But looking good here this evening as he comes into this one 26th in the overall points. And look who's now trying to break into the top 10, Destin Bolin. 2-time winner on the season, most recently at Texas a couple of weeks ago. And Destin was the driver we talked about, highlighted at the beginning of the evening. 2 wins, he's 2nd wildcard spot driver right now, but he was 30th in points coming into this one, right on the cut line. If he can finish up here just inside, or maybe even just right now outside of the top 10, he could build a nice little cushion maybe between himself and that cut line heading into next week, because he is definitely at the moment in the conversation for a wild card spot. He's just got to keep himself in the top 30 in points. His battle is back on for the lead again. Carson Gum, he made a pass on Ormond earlier on to take the top position. He's looking to do it once more. Inside line through 3 and 4. This is where he made the pass the last time. Can he get clear of the 23 off the final corner? Yes, he can. Carson Gum back to the front once more. And I think he's the one driver in the field that doesn't want to see a caution flag for the rest of this race, because he had just gotten the lead from Ormond the prior time. Caution came out. Ormond had the #1 pit stall and was able to regain the lead because of that. James Qualls is starting to close up as well. Looks like Ormond's got a great car for the short run. But Carson Gum, James Qualls have their car set up for the long run here. And the longer this run goes on, it's going to continue to benefit both of those drivers. But the question now is, does James Qualls have a car faster than Carson Gum? If he does, how long does it take for him to get around Nathan Norman before he tries to set his sights on the Noah Toyota? Cody Lamas on the tail end of the lead lap, but was involved in that last incident, now with damage in the 31st position, about to be closed up on here by the 19 of Carson Gum, so might be some traffic that Carson will have to deal with here in the next couple of laps or so. Meanwhile, Qualls closing in on Nathan Ormond. Now, we know obviously that James Qualls has had a multi-win season in his career. You don't have to look that far back. Last year, 3 trips to victory lane. But I'm trying to remember if Carson Gum has ever had a multi-win season. We know he's won the Daytona 500. We've seen him in the playoffs before. He's obviously, as we've well documented, a Duracell Next Gen Cup Series champion. But I'm trying to remember back if he's ever won more than 1 race a season. I'm going to have to go back and look. I don't know if I'll necessarily have the information here today, but next time out at Darlington, definitely will have that statistic if he closes out this deal, if this may be his very first career multi-win season. He'll make the pass on Cody Lamas and put Cody a lap down. Actually, correction, Cody was already a lap down according to scoring. This is a second lap that Cody is being put down right now in the 31st spot. Nathan Ormond completes the pass as well. Qualls not exactly the ideal spot to be the inside of Cody off of corner exit. Couldn't get the power down on the straightaway. But now he'll complete the pass, and Benjamin Miles will move on by as well. That is not for position. Lamas is 1 lap ahead of the 25, but you can clearly see the 25 is much faster. Kyle Matthews will be the next car that Carson Gum will encounter, about maybe half a straightaway ahead. And then you saw Joshua Osborne, who had a great qualifying effort here, but the tides have turned for that team, as he is right now the last car on the lead lap in 27th place. Remember, we ended up having 3 drivers that stayed out under that first caution? Well, for a couple of them, that strategy did not work out, and bad went to worse. Jessica Shelton is right now 1 lap down in 29th. Eric Sadler is a lap down in 28th. However, Caleb Fogler is still on the lead lap, and he's in the 19th position. So the caution and the strategy did actually, in a way, work out for him. Plus, Caleb Fogler was able to spend 4 laps out in front, so he does have that bonus point for a lap led here tonight. But he does not have a tire advantage, despite being off sequence from everybody in the early going. Everybody at this point in time is on equal tires. They all came to pit road under the caution prior to the last one, so they are all the same in terms of the amount of laps on their tires, which we saw that 20-25 lap fresher tires was huge in terms of track position and lap time. Nobody has that kind of an advantage right now, as Kyle Matthews falls back there. Qualls has been able to keep Nathan Ormond honest, but neither have really been able to reel in Carson Gum. Carson's lap time's looking really good right now. Last time by, 23.2. Ormond with a 23.3 and Qualls with a 23.2. So right now, it's all depending on how long it's going to take for Qualls to get around Ormond, because clearly he's faster. And then, does Qualls have enough time to then reel in Carson Gum? Remember, for Qualls and Carson, the 2 of them have already gone to victory lane this season. They're both inside the top 10 in the point standings, so they are already building a little nest egg for a spot in the playoffs. The both of them have nothing to lose here in terms of going for more wins. More wins mean more playoff points. You get 5 points per victory. Already, Destin Bolin, Matt Haas, provided they stay in the top 30 in points, they would be carrying 10 bonus playoff points into the postseason with their multiple victories. And Carson Gum, as I said, potentially, I'm not 100% certain on this, I'd have to go back and look, potentially might be looking for his first career multi-win season. Let's follow a little bit further back here and see if there's some battles inside of the top 10. Connor Breton holding on to 4th, and here's a good battle for 5th as they're making their way around Kyle Matthews. Jesse Turner in that 5th spot. Anthony McCurry, Michael Norman, 6th and 7th. Trying to crack their way up into the top 5 here. Jesse Turner, as we mentioned, has not yet scored a top 10, which obviously means he has not scored a top 5. He's looking for the first one of the season. Anthony is looking for his 3rd top 5 on the season, and Michael Norman is also looking for his 3rd. As McCurry trying the top side here through 1 and 2 against Jesse Turner. Let's see if this works. Can he get the power down, stay alongside the back straightaway? Yes, he can. Now can he clear going into 3? Yes. Beautiful pass around the outside. McCurry now into the 5th spot. Turner drops back to 6th, and his troubles aren't over. Here comes Michael Norman. Here comes Keith Batson. A little further back as well here as we watch this battle for 6th. Give it to Norman. And here comes Batson now for 7th. Got a great battle around the 10th position going on with Daniel Bouchard, Kyler Sustre, Levi McIntyre duking it out. Destin Bolin in this conversation as well. Nick Gunther trying to close in. Nick's been able to work his way up to 14th place. Jack Mitchell out of the race. Levi McIntyre running in 12th. James Qualls currently in 3rd. Right now, Qualls would be in line to head into next week's race at Darlington as the new points leader. Number of drivers are going to take some hits in the point standings here this week. Not only Mitchell, but Ryan Brommer was caught up in one of the incidents tonight. He's running on the tail end lead lap in 25th. Benjamin Miles is multiple laps down. He was 6th, or make that 5th in points. And he is currently scored in 32nd. Cole Deaver out of the race. He was 10th in points coming to this one. Eric Sadler was 11th in the standings, and he's off the lead lap. Matt Haas is off the pace. No Hood on the 2-time winner. He was 12th in points. There are a lot of drivers that are going to free fall through the point standings, and a lot of drivers are going to take advantage and work their way up in the point standings, heading to a very difficult technical track next week. We talk about the tire wear tonight. Darlington is a tire shredder. And that should be a good one. We'll have lights and cup there that weekend. And then the following week, it's just the cup drivers at Chicagoland before we get ready for the midway point of the regular season, the All-Star break at Atlanta Superspeedway, gearing us up for the longest race of the season to kick off the second half of the regular season, or the chase to the chase for the championship. That's what we kind of call that segment of the schedule, beginning with the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Reggie Fogelman going a lap down there in the 26th position, so now 25 drivers on the lead lap, closing in on 30 laps to go. Carson Gum picking them up, putting them down, and continuing to open up daylight back to Nathan Orman. Gap now over 3 seconds in hand. Another second or so from Ormond back to Qualls, and then Connor Breeden and Anthony McCurry, your current top 5. Looks like there's about 31 laps to go here. That will not be enough laps for Carson Gum to be able to wrestle away the most laps led bonus point from Nathan Ormond. Ormond led 76 laps here this evening. Most Carson could lead would be about 61. He's led 30 so far. Only other drivers that have been out in front here tonight, 8 laps led for Jessica Shelton and 4 laps led for Caleb Fogler. Other than that, nobody else. has been out in front here this evening at I69 Speedway. James Qualls is yet to get around Benjamin Miles. I can't say the slower car of Benjamin Miles because Benjamin's running lap times equal to, if not faster than, some of the top 3 contenders. And that is hurting Qualls' chances of getting up there, not only to Nathan Orman, but to Carson Gum. Breton under fire from McCurry. Let's follow this because Anthony's been able to find something on that top side. We saw him make the pass on Jesse Turner to get up into the 5th position, and he is again running that outside groove, trying to close in on the number 88 of Breton. Look at him again, up the racetrack. Breton down on the bottom, and he is going to have the slower car of Cody Lamas to deal with here in a moment. Looks like he'll complete that pass by the time they get down into turn 1. Anthony will try and make quick work of the 84 as well. Looks like he lost a little bit of ground there, did Anthony. Michael Norman up into the 6th position with Keith Batson right behind him. A lot of Fords up here at the front. You got Ormond in 2nd, and then you've got Fords from 6th on back through 12th. Batson in 7th, Turner in 8th, Daniel Bouchard looking for Rookie of the Race as he holds down 9th. Alexander Rowe, Destin Bolin, Levi McIntyre. Those are all the Fords I was talking about. And then you got the Toyota of Kyler Sustre, the Mazda of Nick Gunther, and the Ford of Zachary Fitzwater. That's your top 15. Closing in on 25 laps to go. A lot of traffic now for Carson Gum to deal with. Just got around Kyle Matthews again, and now he's working on the tail end of the field. Ryan Brommer, Autumn Brooks, lap car of RJ Bishop up ahead as well. Let's see if having to deal with all this traffic might help Nathan Ormond. Does he have enough time to be able to catch up? It was 3.6 seconds between Carson and Nathan the last time by. Let's see with having to deal with that traffic there if Ormond closed it up at all this lap by. And it doesn't really look like it. Carson ran a 23.7 in traffic. Ormond ran a 23.5, so he gained 2/10, but I feel like he's going to have to gain a lot more than that because, bear in mind, these cars that Carson Gum's getting around, Nathan's going to have to get around as well. It's not like he's got absolute clean racetrack and won't have to contend with these guys. Carson's just continuing to kind of build a wall, build a nice little stockade between himself and the rest of the field here. And again, I said this earlier, but I feel that it continues to trend this way. Carson, well, the next flag he wants to see is the white flag. He does not want to see a caution because Ormond's got that #1 pit stall, and it paid dividends for him under a previous caution period. Carson going to complete the pass on Autumn Brooks, put her down a lap. Next on the hit list is going to be the lap car of RJ Bishop, and then Matt Haas, who is currently the last car on the lead lap in 23rd place. Last week's winner, 2-time winner on the season, currently at a perfect 100% win rate at our super speedways this season, winning at Daytona and Dragonette. Gap is closing up, now down to 3.2 seconds from Gum to Nathan Ormond, but I wouldn't put too much stock into that yet. Ormond has yet to even catch the tail end of this field. And when he does, the lap times are going to taper off. They're not going to be nearly as much of a 10th, 2/10 chunk taken out. There's Ormond. Yeah, he's still got a ways before he even gets up there to Ryan Brommer. He just got around Kyle Matthews. Reggie Fogelman there. This is not for position. He is a lap down behind James Qualls. But I do believe this is for position. Eric Sadler trying to close in on Fogelman. That'd be for 26th. Doesn't seem like much, but I'll tell you what, we get down to the end of this regular season, every point is going to matter. And you could look back at a race like this where a 26th as opposed to a 27th might have been the 1 point necessary to advance into the postseason. It's like Anthony McCurry has lost touch with Breton. Keith Batson has been able to get around Michael Norman for 6th, and now he might be looking for a top 5. Trying to reel in Anthony McCrory. Norman drifting back. Now he's in the clutches of Jesse Turner and Daniel Bouchard. So Michael might have used up his tires here on this run. Back up to the front again. See how Carson's been doing with traffic efficiency. He's gotten around Bishop. He's gotten around Shelton. And now he'll go to work on Matt Haas. Then I think he's got a little bit of clear track before he then get up to another Toyota in Summer Henson. So a little bit of breathing space there for Carson if he can complete this pass. And he will indeed. He'll also be coming around to 15 laps to go this time by. Let's drop back here as these laps tick away, see what kind of battles we've got here in the closing stages. Here's some good battling. This is from 8th back to 11th. Turner, Rowe, Bouchard, and McIntyre. And we talk about drivers that are going to free fall through the point standings with the poor performances they're currently en route to getting this evening. How about these two drivers right here? The 46 of Rowe, the 99 of McIntyre. Levi coming to this one 3rd in points. 18 points out of the points lead. Now, I don't think he's going to be the points leader going into next week with Qualls running up inside of the top 3. But he could potentially take the 2nd spot in standings from Jack Mitchell. And Alexander Rowe, who just got bypassed there by McIntyre for that 10th spot, he came into this one 7th in the point standings. So he's going to move, I think, a few spots up even further in the top 10 in the overall points and keep himself pretty secure in a potential points-paying playoff position. And really impressed with Destin Bolin here as well. Destin came in the cut line driver, 30th in the standings, 2-time winner, and he's holding down 12th place. I'm looking at drivers ahead of him in the point standings that are out of the race or he's running ahead of, like Kyle Matthews, Eric Monaco, Daniel Voiles, Cody Lamas, Dylan Pote, Dylan Young. He's going to pick up some spots. He could get a nice chunk of points here this evening. Move up 5, 6, 7 spots in the stands, get some breathing space between himself and that cut line. So Nick Gunther right there behind him as well. Nick's currently holding down the 13th position, and Nick's coming into this race running, I believe, 17th in the point standings. He's going to gain quite a bit here tonight as well. There's a bunch of drivers ahead of him in the point standings that he's going to leapfrog. Casey Hoyt, RJ Bishop, Laura Chung, Quentin Moore, Matt Haas, Eric Sadler, Cole Deaver. I don't know if my math would be correct, but Nick could maybe jump up into the top 10 in points after tonight, provided he gains enough points on those around him. Less than 10 to go for Carson Gum. So he got around Joshua Osborne in the 27. That's another driver that'll probably free fall out of the top 10 in points. He was 2 points above the 10th in standings cut line coming into this evening. Summer Henson now going to go a lap down here to Carson Gum. So if Carson doesn't catch Quentin Moore, we're going to have 21 drivers finish on the lead lap here this afternoon. As this race has had a little bit of everything. We've had the long green flag runs, but we've also had some interestingly timed cautions. And the drivers involved in said cautions, a lot of them have been drivers that have had really good seasons and are going to have to try to regroup next week at Darlington. And the trend is currently continuing, if Carson's able to close out the deal here, of multi-time winners in the last 3 weeks. It was Destin Bolin kicking things off at Texas. Matt Haas followed it up at Dragonette last week. And Carson looking to become the 3rd 2-time winner on the season. Thing is, though, if any of the drivers inside the top 3 right now end up going to victory lane, they would be multi-time winners, because Carson, Ormond, and Qualls have all picked up victories so far here in Season 8. Best battle right now is going to be back for the 4th position, and I believe we've had an exchange for that 4th spot. Anthony McCrory has gotten around Connor Breton. Keith Batson has moved into the 5th spot. And now it's going to be McCrory versus Batson for P4 here in the closing stages. Less than 5 laps to go. Batson's going to score his first top 5 of the season. If he's able to hold on here. He's going to have a big run on Anthony McCrory going into turn 3. Can he get the power down here through the center of the corner? Doesn't look like it. He slipped up, and now the lap car of Reggie Fogelman will get to his inside. That allows Anthony a little bit of breathing space. As we jump back up here to the front, Orman clears most of that big clump of traffic, but there's still 3-4 lap machines between himself and Carson Gum. Nearly 3 seconds of time he would have to make up. Carson hits the line for 3 laps to go. Orman will have the most laps led here this evening, but it'll be pretty close between him and Carson Gum. They've dominated this race between the two of them. You look at Fortnite Squad Racing and the changes that they've undergone. Last season, they were a Chevrolet team, but they also split with the Mazdas. Had McCrory and Gunther in Mazdas, Carson Gum, Dylan Poteet in Chevrolets. This season, though, the Mazdas move out. They have their own team over there at Garage 55. And Fortnite Squad Racing announces that the longtime Chevrolet manufactured team is moving over to the 2024 Toyota Camry XSEs. Still working on the momentum on the Dylan Poteet side, but the change has been really good for Carson Gum in this team. Got that early victory 3 races in at Las Vegas, and now just a couple corners away from claiming his 2nd win of the season. Carson Gum becomes the 3rd multi-win driver in Season 8. He'll take the checkered flag here this afternoon at I69 Speedway. Orman will get 2nd. Qualls will bring it home in 3rd. So Qualls will be the new points leader. Going into Darlington, Ormond should be back above the cut line of 30th in the standings, potentially back into a wild card spot. Carson Gum gonna bring it to victory lane. 3 weeks in a row that we have had a repeat winner here in Season 8, with still 2 races left here in the first half of the regular season. Let's take a look at the finishing results that are now official. We gave you your top 3. Anthony McCrory brings it home for 4th. Keith Batson scores his first top 5 of the season in 5th. Connor Breton, a great run in 6th, with Michael Norman 7th. Jesse Turner in 8th. Rookie of the race is going to go to Daniel Bouchard, as he'll net 9th place, and Levi McIntyre, another solid, consistent day for him, as he'll finish in 10th. Nick Gunther passed both Alexander Rowe and Dustin Bolin in those final few laps. He'll get 11th. As I said, I think he could potentially be up inside the top 10 in points at the conclusion of the night. Alexander Rowe, he'll stay in the top 10 in points with 12th. Dustin Bolin, top 15 run, well needed for the cut line 30th the standings driver, with Zachary Fitzwater, Kyler Sustre, the remainder of the top 15. The rest of the drivers have finished on the lead lap. 20 of them in total included Austin LaPlante, Eric Monaco, Caleb Fogler, Charles Sanford, and Quentin Moore. See the drivers that all finished 1 lap down, drivers that finished 2 laps down, 3 and 5 laps down, and then take a look at the drivers out of the race. Jack Mitchell came in the points leader. DNF, 34th place. Will lose him the points lead heading into next week. Laura Chung, Bryce Egan, Daniel Voiles, who came in just above the cut line, our Sonoma winner. He may drop below that cut line as he finishes 37th. Casey Hoyt, who's had some good momentum the last couple of weeks, he DNFs in 38th. Cole Deaver started this race from the outside of the front row. Was looking like it was going to be a great day for him. 39th is where he ends up. He'll drop out of the top 10 in the standings. Benjamin Snyder, Dylan Poteet, and Dylan Young also out of the race. Poteet and Dylan Young came into this race 20th and 21st in points. Poteet was actually trending upward after a great run last time out at Dragonette, but both those drivers are going to take a hit in the point standings, as well as most of these drivers that finished back outside of the top 20, top 25. There's no doubt about it, though. There is going to be a huge shakeup in the points. Going to be interesting to see who is in a playoff position, who is not now, when we get ready for another difficult racetrack next week. It's been given a lot of nicknames. The Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame. That just shows what a difficult racetrack it is for driver, for cars, for the equipment, for pit crews, you name it. It's definitely a racetrack that is willing to eat you up and spit you out if you make a mistake, and drivers are going to have to be on their toes as we head to Darlington Raceway for Throwback Weekend. We'll have the Light Series and the Cup Series there for their final doubleheader in the first half of this regular season. Hope you guys will join us for that. Congratulations to Carson Gum, who may have just clinched himself an automatic spot into the playoffs with his second win on the season here tonight at I69 Speedway. If you guys enjoyed this race, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, part of the crew today. We showed you full picture results, and you're now looking at your point standings heading into next week at Darlington Raceway. Until then, though, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, of flying racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.